In this video, we're going to take a look at the multiplier. To understand the multiplier, we first need to look at the aggregate consumption function, which is C equals A plus BY, where C is the aggregate consumption, A is a constant, B represents the MPC or marginal propensity to consume, and Y is the aggregate income or output. But first, what is the MPC? Well, the MPC, or marginal propensity to consume, is the dollar amount spent on aggregate consumption for every $1 increase in aggregate income. Here's an example. Let's just say the marginal propensity to consume, or MPC, equals 0.8. It means that $0.8 spent on aggregate consumption per $1 increase in aggregate income. If aggregate income increases by $1,000, aggregate consumption will increase by $800. We find this $800 by multiplying the MPC, or 0.8, times the increase in aggregate income, which is $1,000. Now let's take a look at the MPS, or marginal propensity to save. The MPS is the aggregate dollar amount saved for every $1 increase in aggregate income. Looking at our previous example, if MPC equals 0.8, the MPS, or marginal propensity to save, must equal 0.2, because MPC plus MPS equals 1. An MPS of 0.2 means that $0.2 saved per $1 increase in aggregate income. If aggregate income increases by $1,000, aggregate saving will increase by $200. Therefore, with MPC, or marginal propensity to consume, equals 0.8, which means that the MPS, or marginal propensity to save, equals 0.2, $0.8 spent on aggregate consumption and $0.2 aggregate saved for every $1 increase in aggregate income. Here we can see the aggregate consumption model. On the vertical axis is C, or aggregate consumption. On the horizontal axis is Y, which represents aggregate income or output. We can see that aggregate consumption equals A, a constant, plus BY, where B represents the MPC, or marginal propensity to consume. MPC is the slope of the aggregate consumption model, and it relates the change in C, aggregate consumption, to a change in Y, aggregate income or output. Now, suppose planned investment equals I. We have AE, planned aggregate expenditure, equals C plus I, or aggregate consumption plus planned investment. At the equilibrium, we define Y equals AE, or aggregate income or output equals planned aggregate expenditure. We can redefine AE as C plus I, aggregate consumption plus planned investment. We can further redefine C, aggregate consumption, as A plus BY, as we saw in the previous slide. Remember, A is a constant, and B is the marginal propensity to consume, and Y is the aggregate income or output. So now we have Y equals the quantity A plus BY plus I. We can subtract the term of BY from both sides. Then we have Y minus BY equals A plus I. After factoring out Y from the left-hand side of the equation, we see that the quantity of 1 minus B times Y equals A plus I. We can divide the quantity of 1 minus B from both the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the equation. And what we find at the end is that Y star, or the equilibrium aggregate income or output, equals A plus I times the quantity of 1 over 1 minus B. This quantity of 1 over 1 minus B is the multiplier for planned investment I, where B is the marginal propensity to consume, or MPC. Here we can see the aggregate consumption line represented by C equals A plus BY. Remember that B is the MPC and the slope of the aggregate consumption line. We can also see the planned aggregate expenditures line above the aggregate consumption function. We find planned aggregate expenditures by adding aggregate consumption and planned investment, hence C plus I. To find equilibrium, we find the intersection of the y equals AE line with our aggregate consumption line and our planned aggregate expenditures line, respectively. Notice how the equilibrium aggregate income or output has increased more than the increase in investment. This is the effect of the multiplier. Aggregate income or output, y, increases by a factor of the multiplier, which is 1 over 1 minus MPC, from y star to y double star, as aggregate planned investment, I, increases from A to the quantity A plus I.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.